Kia ora tato. Welcome to the OC Kōrero. My name is Jacob Montague. Today with me I have Lane Neal, Henry Blakeman, Brooke McGee, and Faith Smith. And later we'll have a special guest.
Later I will be interviewing Principal of Orewa College, Mr. Wiri Warriner.
Mr. Wiri Warriner is a pinnacle of our community. And speaking of community, manaaki gold badges. Lane, you have something to say about that?
Yes, I have been interested in how you get your manaaki gold badge ever since I learnt about it in year 7. I think the idea of getting a reward when you have been doing something good to then upgrade your status until eventually you get a cool badge. I feel like that is a genius idea to help motivate manaaki across the school and all other aspects of manaaki, such as respect, responsibility, resilience, all these other aspects. If you do something good, you get something that can help you achieve a higher goal or status in the school, which I think is extraordinary. Every other school should do it. It is a absolutely genius idea.
I agree.
Now you guys are in year 8, correct, both of you?
Yes, we're in year 8.
How many years have you gotten? Have you gotten 7 and are you getting 8, or have you no gold badges yet?
No gold badges yet because I didn't know. I didn't get that many stickers.
I see that you only started year 8 as well.
No, I've got 7 in my pocket. It just fell off.
Same. I have I've gotten my manaaki gold every year. Year 7, yeah.
Right.
That happened to me as well because I got my manaaki badge in year 7 and I'm on track to getting it done before the end of the year for year 8. But I was wearing my uniform because I wore it on my badge in year 8, and then it fell off because I was like
The rings.
yeah,
The
the rings
rings.
are so easily breakable.
Oh, I lose them. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I'd like them when they give out those badges to give us, 10 extra rings.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through 6 this year. I had to get replacements,
Yeah.
and then...
Yeah, and
Same.
I had to pay for the replacement of my badge because I lost it earlier in the year as well.
The actual gold pass or just the 7?
Just the 7.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway.
Anyways, on the topic of manaaki, we have Faith. So, manaaki is a big part of our school, and it's something that we all should be able to follow the rules of easily. Faith, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, manaaki is just, we all know what manaaki is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like,
what is manaaki though?
I'd say it's being nice, just even when nobody's watching, it's just being a good person overall. Just having...
Yeah, just being kind and showing up when it's needed. The respect for yourself, the respect for others, and the respect for your environment is so prominent within the school as well. But I think we've got to carry these values beyond the school, into our everyday lives. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important, just to follow the values of school and represent it
Yeah.
throughout your home life even as well. Because just that
yeah.
little extra bit will make everyone else really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have a whakatoki for us today?
I actually do. It goes a little bit like this. He aroha whakāto, he aroha putamai. That basically means if kindness is sown, kindness you shall receive. Basically, you take what you receive. Yeah.
I like that.
So
resonate
treat
with that a lot.
others the way that you want to be treated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically just like that.
Yeah. I think that's quite powerful and an impactful whakatau to carry with us every day.
Definitely.
I mean, because in year 8 we have multi-kilometre runs occasionally,
Yes.
and during them, occasionally we'll meet some people, and before the runs we're told that usually we'll see people, and we are told to be very polite and nice and keep just out of the road, and if they have a dog or a pet, ask before you pet them. And usually the school will tell us about how they got an email from that person or a message from the person saying how respectful and good the school is.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
nice.
Well, speaking of nice and respectful people, I think it's time for our guest segment. Kia ora, sir. Welcome to our podcast.
Kia ora, Henry. How are we doing?
Yeah, really good. How have you
Yeah.
been doing this week?
I've been great, thank you. It's week 2 into term 4, and with all term 4s in the school calendar, it's busy and productive. Lots of celebrations, so it's good.
Well, that's good. Well, we're going to ask you a couple questions today. The first thing I wanted to ask you is about some life lessons that you've had throughout your life. So we all look forward to hearing your stories in assemblies about your experiences, but is there anything that really stands out for you that you always remember that you'd like to share with us?
I guess I'll go back to my parents and probably my grandmother and my grandfather, but particularly my grandmother. She was quite the matriarch of her family. We're part of a big family of around I've got about 40 to 50 cousins that we would spend lots of Christmases together on a dairy farm. And I guess growing up on a dairy farm, you learn a lot of lessons around hard work, etiquette, that hard work pays off when you apply yourself. My family, especially my mum and dad, have taught me a lot of things. They again were dairy farmers in a time where it was pretty hard to grow in terms of having things on the table. One thing in particular is that when we left dairy farming and we moved into Orewa, just up the road, up on Senaway Road, I watched my mum in particular do lots of part-time work. So she actually used to work for the Hibiscus Coast Youth Centre, which is now called the Youth Hub. She worked part-time down at the local rest home, which is literally 500 metres down the road. And she had a couple of other part-time jobs. And similar to Dad, he was a part-time handyman, did lots of different bits and bobs of jobs. But I remember seeing them as mature students. So they both started university at quite an older stage of their lives, like around 40 to 50.
Oh, yeah.
And it was literally, like if I was similar to your age, maybe a bit younger, if I was sick at home, they would drag me to the lecture theatre and I'll be sitting in the back of the lecture theatre, like with a blanket on, sort of thing. Like they kind of showed me that they prioritised education at a mature stage. And so when I went through your age and you know, when I was at Orewa College, academics was pretty hard for me. Like it was not a natural thing for me. My sister is the academic. She was outstanding. I kind of linked towards more practical things like sport, performing arts, kapa haka, anything I could get my hands onto, I kind of thrive more. So I had to work really hard with the academic side. So to see mum and dad and my sister kind of prioritise academics, but also show a bit of adversity at the later stages of life, it kind of really helped me get into university probably 5 or 6 years after I left school. So I went overseas, did various things that I was really privileged and fortunate to do, like played rugby league over in the UK, and then came back and did university at a later stage. And to this day, I think when I graduated my degree, it was the hardest thing, probably the most proudest thing, other than having my kids and getting married. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like finishing a degree where it wasn't a natural thing, I had to work really hard to get it. Kind of led me to teaching as well. It's probably, you know, a mark of what I had seen in my parents, you know, in terms of life lessons. So to see a bit of adversity, to see them go through the parts where they struggled in life, kind of were kind of natural, vicarious life lessons that I learned as I was growing up.
Oh, yeah, that must have been really rewarding to finish that degree.
Yeah, it was, and it was even more rewarding when I walked straight into a job too. So it was good that I found something that I was passionate about. But probably didn't fall in love with teaching until I started teaching. So I did a bit of work at Westlake Boys for a bit, and then landed my proper first permanent post at Massey High School. And you know, I just saw teaching as a job, to be honest, and a way that I could still do my passions, such as coaching sport, coaching youth, being involved in youth. But then I just fell in love with teaching, you know, to have a real direct impact of supporting, you know, not just students, but homes, families and communities. I kind of credit all the learning that I got after university to a community like West Auckland, where the things that you invested at kind of come back in trumps in return as well.
Oh, cool. All right, well, talking about challenges, what do you think a challenge that we overcame this year that really helped us grow as a kura?
it's the little things for me, I think. It took me about 2 or 3 days to realise that when I started last year, that simple things such as how we hold ourselves in the school and in the community. I quickly restructured the assemblies because they used to be monthly last year, and I changed them to fortnightly. And the biggest purpose of that was so that all students could see me more, and so that I could have a direct influence in terms of the way that we behave, the messages that we would have in the school, for our most outstanding students that are in the school, such as our manakura, our head prefects, so that all of our whole school community could see all the positive things that are already existing in the school more often. Yeah, and the more often that we see these things, feel these things, and practice these things, becomes a really strong culture of the school. So it's just these little things, but the little things have to be frequent and often. Yeah, so that as much as there's lots of things that are going on, opportunities for change, it's the little things that count, and having the ability, but also the courage to change things quite quickly. When I first started as a principal, a wise man, and lots of people give you advice as a principal, whether they know a few things or not. One of the biggest things was like, try not to change too many things, Woody, in your first year. And that was really hard for me because I could see lots of things were really important to change or to strengthen. And one of it was school pride, right? So straight away within about, a week or two, I could see that there were great things already existing in this college, but our own community in whānau had no idea what was going on. So like little things such as what we're doing here, how we can celebrate new technology, but also how we're presenting ourselves more often to the community, marketing, the communication side of the school so that we can celebrate more as a community, were really important. So it was those little things that I believe anyway has really strengthened the culture and just aligned us a bit more in terms of where we're going as a kura as well.
Mr. Warriner, sir, thank you for coming on our podcast.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Cool to
I
talk to
love
someone
him.
like that.
He's been a very good principal, I'll admit, working alongside him this year. He's been amazing.
Yeah, he tells us a bunch of really good stories every time we go into assembly. Like, some of them are really cool.
What's excellent is I've got a few stories from around the college. Some might say I have some shout-outs and celebrations almost.
Ooh.
It's almost as if that's the name of the segment.
Oh, that's
Zinger.
crazy.
Now, my first shout-out is to our very own Brooke McGee, head girl working tirelessly day and night on all the Year 13 celebrations coming up. And I've got to say, from all the other Year 13s, all the other manakura, all the other students, thank you so much.
Aw, you stop it. Hearing that honestly makes the job all worth it, because sometimes I'm just there like, but I do it because I love it.
You do it for the fans.
Yeah, I do it for my fans. So yeah, thank you for being a fan, Jacob, my number one fan, if you will.
Yeah. The second shout-out I'd like to give to our languages department, who have recently worked with a cultural department to put on our Culture Fest, which has been fantastic.
Yes.
Did you catch any of the performances?
Yep, I did go to the performances and I loved every second of it. Honestly, every single performance, every single culture, I felt like witnessing it live was just amazing, and I'm glad that they could showcase that for us.
I didn't manage to get to the assembly, but I vividly remember in Year 7 we went to a Japanese cultural dance thing that they showed us, and it's so cool to see that we can represent that kind of stuff at Orewa College, because in other schools you wouldn't really see that. So it's really special that we get to do that.
Now, Brooke, how closely did you work with Dana and names?
Dana and Seema? Yeah, they're all global citizens manakura, but they led it all themselves. Like, I think they only got approval from Mrs. Kenny and Mr. Warriner, just about the nitty gritties of it all, but they completely ran it themselves, and it was an initiative by them. And obviously we would talk about stuff in our manakura meetings, but they very self-led, and it was very student-led, which is cool to see.
So everyone, I've got an important question.
Yes.
How important?
What vegetable is the biggest jerk?
Okay.
Oh, I feel bullied by broccoli on the daily, so I would have to say broccoli.
Cauliflower is so cruel.
Yeah.
Purple kumara.
Purple kumara, is there a reason behind that, or?
Yeah,
every time I see it,
Do you get excited because you think it's a sweet potato?
Yeah, and I'll go, ooh, sweet potato for dinner. What's this?
But they're the same thing.
Yeah. I feel
The little
like
cream
I
rolls,
really
sweet
hate
potato.
I really hate Brussels sprouts because they
had
they
them.
try to act all nice when they get wrapped in bacon, but just by themselves they're so evil.
A boiled Brussels sprout is like
Meh.
but then if you like roast it, I don't know. I could get behind that.
With, like,
But
bacon
the
around it and
one
stuff is so good.
fruit/vegetable that is the nicest, what would you say? Personally, it's mandarin or banana for me.
Potato.
Banana would be the funniest. Potato.
It's given so much.
Potatoes are
Crisps,
so nice.
jacket potato, mashed potato,
French fries,
easy. Bam,
curly fries.
Done.
Done.
I'd
Whack
say
it
that.
in.
You
Whack
like
it in the
fries,
oven.
don't you?
You get
I'm a
home after a
man.
training, fork and a potato, easy.
Delicious. They
They
help us with batteries at science fairs.
Getting back from training and there's no dinner and you're just like
Oh.
tired and all you want to do is just eat and go to bed, but there's no dinner.
But another thing potatoes are good for is in the science fairs, the kids will make them clocks. They are a source of electricity, a source
yeah,
of
like a
McDonald's
conductor.
not going out of business, and
Honestly.
they are delicious mashed.
Well, like the potato, this podcast, I tell you what, it's not just good listened to, it's good streamed, it's good promoted to all your friends at Orewa College, to all your whānau at Orewa College. And hey, we're always happy to have you on the OC Kōrero.
And also, all to your whānau and friends that are not in Orewa College.
And one more reminder is your whakatauki. He aroha whakāto, he aroha puta mai. If kindness is sown, kindness you shall receive. And remember, always eat your potatoes and don't trust Brussels sprouts.